Audio test testing 1 2 3. Audio test testing 1 2 3. Good morning, everyone. Fernando Campos, Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, June 28, 2023. Just a quick audio check and audio check for the Zoom applicant, or the Zoom attendees this morning. Ruben, I'm just going to select you randomly. Ruben Flamenco, if you can just unmute your microphone and just confirm you can hear us.
Yes, Fernando, I could hear you.
Perfect. Good morning to you. Thank you for confirming audio. For today's meeting, we have 9 items. Item number 1 will be presented by Samumu Jibri Wad. And Samumu, I apologize for mispronouncing your last name in advance. Item number 2, Amy Bai. Item number 3, Sherry Simons. Item number 4, Thu Van Ho. Item number 5 is Miller Zhu. Item number 6, Octavio Murillo. Item 7, no presenter. Item number 8, Norman Tenyata. And item number 9 will be presented by the LA Metro team led by Mr. Matt Antonelli. For Bureau representatives that are on the line this morning, good morning to you, Sean Yepremian, Melinda Chow, Rowena Lau, Ruben Flamenco, and Angela Martinez. Thank you all for being here this morning through the Zoom application. Should the board have any questions for you, we will open up the audio lines for you to respond. Again, this is for Bureau representatives this morning that are joining us through the Zoom application. For members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda, if you can please raise your hand at this time by pressing *9. You can click the raise hand icon if you're joining us through the Zoom application. There's an icon located towards the lower right-hand side of your screen. Go ahead and click that icon now if you'd like to speak under general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. For members that are here live in City Hall in our chambers, there are speaker cards located at the back end of the room. You can go ahead and complete that speaker card and hand that over to myself up in the front. We'll go ahead and add you to the queue for general public comment. At this time, we've received 3 speaker cards for general public comment. Last call for any members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment or commentary on any of the items for today's agenda. If you can please raise your hand by clicking the raise hand icon, press *9, or submit your speaker cards at this time. Seeing no other hands raised and no other speaker cards being submitted, President Garcia, we can establish quorum. I can go ahead and start the recording for you.
Yes, please.
President Garcia, you're now in record mode.
Great, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting for the Board of Public Works for Wednesday, June 28th, 2023. Dr. Campos?
Good morning, everyone. Again, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer with the Board of Public Works. Establishing roll call and quorum this morning, we have President Garcia, Vice President Villegas, and Commissioners Corzan and Reyes. President Garcia, you do have a quorum. For the record, President Pro Tem Davis has been excused from today's meeting to attend a business meeting at City Council this morning. President Garcia, we do have 3 speaker cards submitted today under general public comment. We have no commentary under the Neighborhood Council comment section and no other speaker cards submitted on any of the items for today's agenda. Again, 3 speaker cards under general public comment.
Great, thank you very much for that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, those that are here in person and those that are out in our virtual platform. Thank you, everyone, for being here in our Board of Public Works meeting. We are, apologies to getting started just a tad bit late, but we're going to get through this. We have a presentation today, which is nice to hear as well, and we have a pretty hefty agenda. But with that, I'm going to kick it off and get started with public comment, and I'll start with our first public speaker card, which is Mr. Kenyatta Cole.
Good morning to the Board of Public Works. I'm Kenyatta Cole, and just to bring an update, I had a chance to speak with Mike Gibson over the weekend Sunday. He gave me a call personally to let us know that, the Black Caucus and 2 of the city council members were going to be going to the state legislation in order to hammer out an exemption or extension or a bill even to allow this program to continue, and also getting in contact with the state attorney general to find out why Ms. Soto hasn't signed off on these contracts and why other entities are working through AB5 in the city. So just to bring you that update, there was a question also about what the intent of the state when it came to AB5, but actual fact, we have to go to the creator of AB5, which is Ms. Gonzalez, and her intent was actually on the floor. Her intent when it came to AB5 in the trucking industry, Ms. Gonzalez made a statement from the assembly floor September 11, 2019, that the purpose of AB5 was to get rid of an outdated broker model that allows companies to basically make money and set rates for people that they call independent contractors. So as we know, this program doesn't have that broker model, and we were business to business. We also wrote a letter, our attorneys, to show, to ask for the extension for the stability to allow the Black Caucus, the assemblymen, a couple of our council members to go to the state and to hammer out this, to kind of like give us some stability to continue to work, through this AB5 situation. And so we're on it, just to give you that update, to let you guys know that we still believe in the process. We trust in the process. We need you all just to continue in the city council to help work through this issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, John Perez.
Good morning. John Perez, truck number 537 for the Yes Needed Truck Program. Just wanted to say I've been here for the last 3 weeks, kind of coming to you guys. We appreciate what you guys do. We're still fighting a little bit, I guess, or, in contradiction with Heidi Philstein Soto. And I hope she comes to her senses. We're going to try to get a hold of the Legislative Council to see if we're able to, we could get them to actually give us what it is that they interpret the law of AB5. And if they were to interpret it differently from Heidi, then we would be able to override what she's doing at this moment in time. We know exactly that the law exempts us. There's no doubt about it. I think you guys know. I think you guys represent us, and we're asking to do a little more if you can, but we appreciate what you do. And the lady from the city attorney, she may take that back to Heidi on my behalf. I've been in this business for 37 years, never been an employee to anyone. I have all the permits. I have everything that makes me an independent contractor, and definitely a business. And I could do business to business under the law, which is 2276. And it's not under the Dynamex, but the SG Borrello against the DIR, the Department of Industrial Relations. And if we read all that, it makes sense that we are not an employee to the city at all. That they actually would have to treat us as a business, and there's no problem with this whole thing. So hopefully Heidi takes in consideration, Karen Bass as well. She did do a directive last week, and she's, 90 days to help all the small businesses. We're small businesses. I don't think she's come up to the bat with us. She was in Toluca Lake, and that was great, but I think we needed more. That's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker, we have Mr. Leo Danis Magvan. Leo Danis Magvan Trucking. Truck 552. Okay, moving on. Rara Part Arquilin. That's what I have here. Rara Part Arquilinian. I just got them right now. Say it again. Arquilinian or Arquilin. R-A-R-A-P-E-T. First name, last name, A-R-A-K. Okay, writing.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We were here last week on the same issue. issue is still the same. We like some attention to this matter. You guys are trying to fix the homeless problem in the city, but at the same time, adding 93 plus. It's not only us, most of us have drivers that are going to get laid off as well. So I would expect to get some serious consideration out of this. And besides our jobs, we give you guys better roads, the public better roads to drive on. And we're getting the jobs done, so. One thing I like to add is that everybody has families, it's our livelihoods. Most of these guys here, this is what we know how to do. And I could say we're pretty good at it. So, thank you for your time. Hope something gets done.
Thank you. Next speaker, Davia Araklian. Davia?
Good morning, everybody. My name is David Arakelian. I'm here to talk on behalf of the 93 truck drivers who will be losing their job in the upcoming days of July 1st. First thing I want to address is the city attorney, Miss Heidi Fieldstein Soto. So she is our 43rd Los Angeles city attorney, elected in November 2022 and sworn into office in December 2022. One thing I want to understand is that as a city attorney, their purpose is to be doing good for this county and to be helping people. And as Ms. Soto says, she's here to help out the homeless, get homeless off the streets, and overall create a better community for all. So my question to her is it a good idea to not only put 93 drivers out of business, but to put over 100 people on the streets again? All these people sitting in this room have a family, have kids, have a wife that we work for, and all these drivers here have been in this profession for 20 plus years, some of them even longer. So they've grown up in this, they know what to do, they know how to do this, and for you guys to take their job away from them, and for Miss Heidi Soto to say that let's take them out and bring in other drivers instead of them, regarding a law that has nothing to do with them either. AB 5 has nothing to do with these drivers here. I addressed that last week too, saying that AB 5 does not affect the drivers in this room, and that's basically it. So whatever Heidi Soto is doing, she's doing it wrong, and she's putting more people on the streets, and from what I understand, she's trying to get people off of the streets. So thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, Harry Horitian.
Yeah, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to speak on behalf of my fellow truckers. What I'm going to say is, you know what, we don't want a handout. We just want a fair opportunity to get back to work. All we want is a fair day's work and a fair day's pay. We just want to get back to work and get the ball rolling so we could start paving these streets again. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Campos, that seems to be the last of the speaker cards. Do we have any speakers via the virtual platform?
President Garcia, nobody has their hand raised on the virtual platform, but let me just double check one more time. Members of the general public that would like to provide general public comment that are on the Zoom application this morning, if you can raise your hand if you'd like to speak under general public comment, you can press *9 or click the raise hand icon at this time.
We'll get 'em right now. Give me a second.
President Garcia, no one has raised their hand at this time.
We have one more. Do you have a speaker card?
What is the name? Victor and Elvia Vasquez.
Thank you for that. We have two more speaker cards. One is Victor Vasquez Sr.
Good morning. First off, thank you very much, Ms. Garcia and the staff, and you guys have been very cooperative with us. We consider you our bosses, best bosses we've ever had. I've been doing this for 16 years, and when I first got hired, they said, how many years you been on the outside? And I said, the outside? That sounds like a prison term. But being in here was, it's like hitting the lottery for us, but it didn't come without challenge. It's 7 days a week. I waited on the list for 6 years, and 5 years, I've been working 7 days a week, like all of us here, 93 companies plus their drivers. And after trying to meet with our bosses, you guys, for 8 months, and going through the proper chain of command, which is Street Services and Public Works, at this point, we have to continue the fight and inform the people next door, the politicians, city council. We have met with them, and they have become our allies. AB 5 excludes physicians, dentists, psychologists, veterinarians, lawyers, architects, engineers, accountants, broker dealers, investment auditors, real estate licensees, and even AAA, the towing, and they came in at the very end. They were added. So why can't we be added? I mean, if all those people I just mentioned, they use the streets that we pave, and they're trying to throw us out on those same streets. Miss Heidi Soto, she said she will pay attention to any issues, and this is an emergency. SOS, Save Our Streets, and the State Attorney General Rob Bonta also needs to be aware. And the mayor just last week, on 2 different occasions, continued to acknowledge small businesses. What are we? What are we? We should be at the top of the list. We shouldn't even be having this conversation. We are exempt. And I continue to believe that, and our legal counsel has advised us for that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, I have another card that says Victor Vasquez Sr. as well. Was that? Elvia Vasquez? Okay. Elvia Vasquez?
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much for having this opportunity for us to speak. On behalf of my husband and the 93 truckers that are part of this association, we ask of you to really open your hearts and be mindful of what's happening to this whole community. This is a community that's sitting here before you in the possibility of losing their livelihood, their homes, their work that they've done for many years. As heritage of 132 years, I can't believe that you can just give a 30-day notice to 93 families and their predecessors that have come to help and provide such good care for our cities in paving the streets. We are owner-operators. They have their own business. They have been required by CARB and other agencies to provide with so much regulation that they've been able to accommodate. They have business license. They're registered under small business enterprises. They have gone through so many hoops to be able to provide for their families and for our community. And I can't believe that a 30-day notice they've been fighting for this for 2 years, hoping that there would be clarification at this point where they could continue to provide this and provide the heritage to their family to continue this resource for them. And it's so sad that we cannot provide just a simple education or even being more mindful of what's happening to all these people, myself included. I take care of my elderly parents now, and I'm counting on my husband to be able to provide for our family. And how can I do that? For our children, to help them build. They're supposed to do better than us, and we have built this love for them, to give them this opportunity that we can hand them down, and now no longer is available. We have to pay for our own. We are owner-operators. They pay for their trucks, their homes, their licenses, insurance, everything on their own. Thank you.
Thank you to all the speakers. That is the last of the speaker cards, correct, Dr. Campos?
Let me just double check.
Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, great. Virtual platform has been officially also checked, so we do not have any more public speakers or public speaking cards. General public comment is now officially closed. Moving on to the approval of the minutes for the Wednesday, June 14, 2023. Is there a second to my motion to approve this item?
Second.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Dr. Campos, there's a first by me and a second by Vice President Villegas to approve the minutes of Wednesday, June 14, 2023. Apologies for that.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation.
Yes, please.
Let's start with you, President Garcia,
Aye.
Vice President Villegas, Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous.
Great, thank you very much. As far as public speaking, we have closed it, so we won't be able to address anyone. I'm just kind of letting you guys know. And there's no other items in here that will call us to make sure that we address any of the situation. So just wanted to make you aware of that. Victor? Okay. Thank you for that. Moving on, so today we have a very exciting presentation. We, as you know, it is LGBTQIA month, and this is a recognition that we host every year for our LGBTQ employees. I am going to turn over the mic to Commissioner Reyes as she's going to lead us in today's presentation. Nevertheless, we are very close to ending the fiscal year, so I just wanted to say that. We are about a couple days into it, and this is the second to last meeting for this fiscal year. We will take a summer break, only 1 week, and it's going to be from the July 3rd to the Friday. What is that Friday? I don't have a calendar in front. 7th, thank you very much. So from July 3rd to the 7th, we will not be having any meetings here, so don't come. If you really want to come, the building will be open and the boardroom will be open, and you can hang out here if you want, but we will not be here next Wednesday or next Friday. There is a holiday for 4th of July, as we will not be open. The building will be closed. Other than that, just making you guys aware that next week we will be in recess, but then we will resume back the following Wednesday after that. So only 1 week for us, short-lived. But with that, we're happy to turn it over to Commissioner Reyes as she will lead us in today's presentation. Thank you, Commissioner Reyes.
Thank you very much, President Garcia. Good morning, everyone. Happy Pride Month. Pride is a wonderful celebration of equality and inclusivity, but it isn't just a celebration. Hold on, Dr. Campos. It is also a time to acknowledge that the LGBTQ plus community, specifically our trans folks, as of late, are under serious threat from extremists. But we are now looking into more celebrations every June here at home and across the country. And as we approach the end of Pride Month, I hope you've been able to take part in a parade or other fun event to mark the occasion. So today, we are doing the recognition of our outstanding LGBTQ employees differently with a slide presentation followed by remarks from the respective bureau staff supporting them, and then remarks by the honoree before the award of the certificate. We will then take a group photo after my closing remarks. So here's the slide presentation showing our outstanding LGBTQ employees. Thank you for that slide presentation. So we do have it on file for the bureaus to be able to celebrate them in your own respective bureaus. So first up, we have Angel Ibarra, a senior administrative clerk from the Bureau of Sanitation. And we have Robert Potter and the team from LA San who will speak and give some brief remarks before we have Angel give the remarks.
Good morning, Commissioners, Executive Officer, City Attorney, Bureau Representative. I'm Robert Potter. I'm an Assistant Director with LA Sanitation and Environment. I'm honored to be here today to present this award to Angel Ibarra. I have worked with Angel for most of his career, and there is not a better candidate. He exemplifies all that is good in an employee and is an exceptional human being. Angel started in 2015 as an exempt administrative clerk supporting the LA Sanitation and Environment Multifamily Bulky Item Program. In 2017, Angel was hired as an LA San full-time administrative clerk and has since supported multiple LA San district yards, including West Los Angeles, DC Tillman, and Washington. Angel has supported the LA San's Livability Service Division since its formation in 2018. Having quickly been promoted to senior administrative clerk, and with LSD's quick growth, Angel's responsibilities expanded to supporting 5 yards. Leading a team of 9 administrative clerks, he and his team support a division of at least 400 staff, ensuring that staff get paid, collaborating with partner agencies to address their requests, providing general administrative support from accidents, injuries, and vacations, and supporting the LSD management team. Angel leverages his experience, talent, skills, and passion in building and strengthening relationships with the diverse LSD staff. He promotes the idea of openness, acceptance, and respect in the workplace. Angel bridges cultures, learns from them, and promotes their unique perspectives. He is empowered by the supportive, open, and accepting teams whom he works with, and he uses his role in his relationships with his teammates to advocate that he and his teams can do great things regardless of their background, gender, sexual orientation, or identity. Coming from a blue-collar family, Angel relates well with and embraces the blue-collar environment in the yards. Above all, he regards his coworkers as family. Congratulations, Angel, on receiving this recognition.
Bob, can you read out the certificate just to make sure that we're officially recognizing Angel?
Certificate of Recognition. The Board of Public Works honors Angel Ibarra, Senior Administrative Clerk, Bureau of Sanitation. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, the Board of Public Works is pleased to recognize your efforts and accomplishments, which have been of great benefit to the LGBTQ+ community. Happy Pride Month. We thank you for your contribution and wish you continued success on your future endeavors. Signed by all of the commissioners.
Good morning, Board. Good morning, Commissioner. This award means a lot to me. I remember when it was nominated, I was like, do I really want to get this award? Because something that's not talked about at work is my sexuality. It's just something that's just accepted. And of course I took it. And my drivers, they don't quite understand a lot of the things. I told them, I'm being nominated. They thought I won. Like, they showed up for this picture that we had up there. And it's just, I want to share this quick story. Somebody told me when I started my career in downtown LA, so when I started at the Public Works building, somebody told me to maybe consider not being open about my sexuality at the yard because the men are very old school, and that they might not be accepting. Boy, was that person wrong. And I now have this award to prove it. And I'm so happy because I have my mom and my 9 employees, or all of them here with me, right? I have such a great support system and group. And this certificate is not just for me, it's for my whole division, and I can't wait to show them to everybody. So thank you guys again. I appreciate it.
May we have all of the LA San staff stand up, please? And Mom, please. There you go. Congratulations, Angel. All right, the next awardee is Jasmine Hyder from our Bureau of Street Services. And we have Michael Allman and Gary Harris. Are they here? There you go.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Executive Officer, City Attorney. We're so privileged to be here today to celebrate an employee that embodies the spirit of public service, an employee that shines as an outstanding example of what we're talking about here. And these are people who go above and beyond for public service. And that employee is Jasmine Hyder. And I want to take this moment to celebrate all of her accomplishments and the spirit of can-do that she brings to the Construction Services Division. You know, in a short period of time, just 5 years, she started with us as a target local hire employee with limited exposure to construction and knowledge of our processes. But yet in that time period, she's risen all the way to a cement finisher worker, which is a highly skilled position in our concrete works. And that's an incredible story of what she's done using on-the-job training and our street maintenance technology program to come this far. She's still involved in that program, the street maintenance technology training at Trade Technical College, which we hope to see her graduate from and even further advance her career in the Bureau. We think that she has the potential to one day be one of the top leaders in this Bureau. We look forward to that occurring. But to talk more about how the impact she has at the crew level in her division, I've invited her division manager up here with me today. That's Mr. Michael Allman. And I'm going to allow Mr. Allman to go with the rest of the presentation. Mike?
Thank you, Chief Harris. Jasmine has always been an energetic and positive, and has an excellent work ethic. When you get to know her out on a personal level, she's funny and she could make you laugh. She gets along with the crew really well, and they all work together. She's always been a team player with with our division. She's been, like Chief Harris said, she started here July 2018, so her 5-year anniversary is coming up here. And she started in the target local hire. She promoted to maintenance labor, and then a year and a half ago promoted to cement finisher. She's worked in our sidewalk repair program. She's currently assigned to our construction services division design build team, which works on all of our big grant programs. And she's also played a role in our ADA compliance inspection team. So she's always been willing to learn and has a great positive attitude. So I'd like to just thank Jasmine, recognize her.
Okay, Jasmine.
Hello, how you guys doing? I just want to say I'm so grateful for this opportunity, not just to be receiving this award, but just to be working from the city. As you guys might have heard, you know, I came in kind of not really knowing anything, and you know, throughout the years I've progressed in my work, and I'm learning so much. And sometimes, like I was just telling Mike Allman this morning, that sometimes I'm still in awe. I can't believe that I'm here. I can't believe like all these like just great things that are happening, all these doors that are opening for me, and I just have so much, you know, I have so much more to go, and I'm looking forward to being with the city for, you know, for the rest of my time. And I'm sorry, I recently just applied for inspector, and I took the test and I scored really well, so I'm excited about that. So thank you. Yeah, I'm just grateful. I know it's so many other people that you guys could have picked, and just, you know, seeing that it's somebody speaking about me in rooms that I haven't entered yet, it just says a lot about my work quality, and just, you know, it makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. So I'm so grateful. Thank you for this. Thank you, thank you.
Congratulations, Jasmine. And last but not least, we have Gay Chapman, and we have Raul Mendoza from Bureau of Contract Administration.
And Seffi Wiles.
Good morning, President Garcia and Board. Seffi Wiles, a Division Manager for the Wastewater Construction Division, Bureau of Contract Administration, representing for our Director who could not be here today, but we do have our Assistant Director here, Raul Mendoza, as well as Gay Chapman's Supervisor, Mike Howard, in the audience. Gay, do you mind stepping up here, please? So on behalf of the Director, we are so pleased for the third year in a row to recognize Ms. Gay Chapman to receive this honor today. So let's talk about Gay and her achievements for the city as well as her LGBTQ community. Gay has been a civil servant for the City of Los Angeles for the last 19 years, and she is a certified electrical inspector recognized by the International Code Council. For the past 8 years, she has served as our resident subject matter expert at the LA San water reclamation plants, representing our Bureau as the lead electrical inspector. Some of the projects that are notable that Gay has worked on is the Los Angeles Wastewater Control Systems Replacement Project, as well as our Hyperion Advanced Water Purification Facility, which is in its final stages right now. She's also been a part of the Venice Dual Force Main Project, serving on all of the electrical accomplishments there. In addition to Gay's work for the city, for her community, she owns the AfterEllen.com, which is a leading media publication dedicated to providing entertainment news and cultural critique to the lesbian, bi, women's community. She founded this organization in 2002, and the After Ellen brings fun, feminist perspective on film, television, music, books, and fashion to our world and the current political climate as it affects our community. Gay regularly participates in the Pride events for the local LGBTQ community, as well as the WeHo Pride, LA Pride parades, and the Dyke Days. In addition to that, Gay's most important job is she co-parents her daughter, which is 14 years old. We are so pleased to have Gay. She's an asset to the city, our bureau, and to her LGBT community. So congratulations, Gay, on this award. So it says here, Certificate of Recognition. The Board of Public Works honors Gay Chapman, Senior Electrical Inspector, Bureau of Contract Administration. On behalf of the City of Los Angeles, the Board of Public Works is pleased to recognize your efforts and accomplishments, which have been of great benefit to the LGBTQ community. Happy Pride Month. We thank you for your contributions and wish you continued success on your future endeavors. Thanks, Seth.
Well, when I entered the workforce in the 1970s, there were like 0 job protections for homosexual people. So we've come a really long way, and I really appreciate being recognized. And I pledge to try and keep Los Angeles safe for all of our residents, all the LGBTQ people, both employees and residents. I work to ensure our safety and our dignity, and I really, really appreciate being recognized. That's it.
Now I'm going to give it to our commissioners to say something.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. I'll kick it off with Commissioner Corson.
Thank you. Usually I'm not first. I wasn't 100%,
Not
but
today.
it's okay. I want to pick up where Angel you left off. Angel, where you started, Gay, where you left off. I think as we've seen recently, when we talk about protections and we talk about our culture and our values, and for the city to recognize your accomplishments and celebrate the LGBTQ community, it speaks to our values, not just as an employing body or a government body, but as a city itself, where we stand when places in Florida or Texas or other regions look for ways to marginalize, take away rights, demonize. And I think back to, the saying of you never know what love is unless you've loved and lost, right? And it's a shame that across the country there are places that don't appreciate that you can love who you want to love, and you should love who you want to love, and you should live how you love to live. And I'm so proud of being a part of this body and where we recognize you, and to be a part of the extended city family that has individuals such as yourselves who are willing to be role models and who are willing to put yourselves in positions where someone can enter the workforce. And when someone says to Angel, hey, these are old school people, and Angel says, well, now I'm the old school man who says, that's not the way we are. Or Gay, who says, can be the person who says, hey, there are no protections for us. And Gay can say, well, actually there is, and I'm here to protect everyone. So I want to acknowledge that and celebrate, in celebration of your efforts and your accomplishments, of what it means to me personally, to see that we are so accepting and we are continuing to be the voice of progress, and to set a positive example, not just locally, not just nationally, but internationally. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Corson. Vice President Villegas?
Thank you. I just wanted to say ditto what Commissioner Corsan said. I'm so happy that we're able to do this today. Congratulations to all our awardees. And I'm really glad to be in an environment where it's very normalized and we don't see any differences, and we are able to value people's work and value what they bring to the table. Nothing else. Not the color of their skin, not their religion, not their sexual preference, but just really a diverse group of individuals that make up our city that we all love. Congratulations. Thank you.
Dr. Davis?
Thank you so very much. I just left City Council, where we did a commemoration of Tom Bradley's 50th anniversary of having been elected the first African American of a major city. It's been 50 years ago. It was in 1973. And so I bring that up not only to explain to you why I'm late, but also to tell you it's so appropriate for this celebration that we have, because Tom Bradley was the first mayor in Los Angeles to ensure that LGBT individuals were intricately involved in city government, as he was with other minority groups. Not only just simply based upon race, but based upon gender and sexual orientation as well. And when I think about the work that we do on diversity, equity, and inclusion, he was the first one to bring it to the city of Los Angeles in the ways that we know and recognize it today. I'm reminded, as a person who has worked in public policy most of my adult life and have studied it, that one of the beautiful things about America is that we hold it to the Constitution that we've all heard about. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men and women are created equal. I added women because it means women as well. And when I think about that, every day that we work in public service, we try to live to those ideals. And so today is a very special day, and this is a very special month for us to make sure that we include everyone. Civil rights, as we have known it, includes in many ways a blanket, several patches coming together to make one piece of garment. And so this is the multicultural city that Los Angeles is. We are the most diverse city in America, not only in terms of race, but in terms of gender and sexual orientation as well. So today, I welcome the recognition that we have had today here before the Board of Public Works, and we are committed to continue the legacy of Mayor Tom Bradley to make sure that people are included in this great city of Los Angeles that I love and I know that you love. And people included not only because of the culture that they are, but because of the sexual orientation that they are as well, and any other area that might be perceived as different. It is the difference that makes the uniqueness of Los Angeles. And again, I congratulate all of the honorees and hold us to our commitment of diversity, of equity, and inclusion for all Los Angelenos. Congratulations.
All right, well, commissioners were really inspired today. I don't know if I can even beat that. But ditto to all of everything that my colleagues here just said, but I want to just say a couple things. Angel Ibarra, you know, to you personally, you build a team. You could see it right behind you, all the folks that surrounded you. And that is why you're here, because of your team building skills, your professionalism and your personality, your work ethic, all of that seems to be thriving. I could see it. I could see it just from here, how much energy you put into your workplace, because everybody's supporting you. Your mom's here and everybody else is here that supports you. So I just want to say, Angel, you are an asset to sanitation, to your family, and to your teammates. Thank you so much for being part of sanitation. Gay Chapman, this is your third year in a row. What are we going to do if they don't give it to you next year? I'm going to be worried. So I just want to say thank you so much, because I know John is very meticulous and very detail-oriented as well. So for him to continue to choose to nominate you every year means that you're doing an exemplary job. You're just above and beyond any of our expectations that we have, and you do such a great job. So thank you so much. I hope you're framing these frames and you have like a collection going. We'll continue to give them to you, as like, you know, but I just want to say thank you for being a trailblazer. You're definitely a trailblazer to a lot of the younger LGBTQ community that's coming up now. You have really been a trailblazer, a pioneer, and everything that you've opened doors for other folks that are here today as well. So thank you for that. And lastly, I wanted to, Jasmine, how's that car doing? I want to say congratulations to you. You deserve everything you're getting and everything you continue to, and that you will continue to get, because you're dedicated to yourself and you're dedicated to improving yourself. So take the blessings and everything that comes around it, because you deserve it. It's yours. You're working for it. So nobody's giving it to you. You're actually making these things happen for yourself. Thank you so much for being part of Street Services. I've seen you grow. I've known about you for a while now. I've seen you on the field as well, and I just want to say congratulations, because that energy that you have out there in the field, I see how much you love what you're doing, and that is why Chief Harris just said that we can see you being a leader within Street Services. You're on your way. Continue to open those doors for others that are coming behind you. But definitely know that you deserve this, and you are definitely a person that we love here at the Street Services. So thank you so much, and congratulations. And with that, I will say thank you, everybody that's here to celebrate this month. We appreciate you all, and we appreciate the inclusivity that we have. We really are a city of diverse individuals, and we thrive on that. And I'm very proud to serve in the city of Los Angeles, in a city that we really recognize diversity, inclusion, cultures, everything. I'm just very excited that I've always I was born and raised here in the city of LA, and I continue to, raise my kids here in the city. And I love that that every day we see all types of folks, any language, culture, and so forth. And it's not a shocker anymore. It's just part of what we are and what we do here in the city. So thank you, everybody, for celebrating with us. We appreciate you, all the assistant directors, and all the management that's here. Thank you so much for making this important. And with that, I turn it over to Commissioner Reyes to close today's presentation.
Thank you so much to my esteemed colleagues on the board for their excellent and tremendous support for our outstanding LGBTQ+ employees, and to all our bureau managers and supervisors. Pride Month is a wonderful celebration of equality and inclusivity, but it isn't just a celebration. It's also a time to acknowledge not that the LGBTQ+ community, their struggles, and more importantly, the value they bring to us all. With the recent uptick in anti-LGBTQ+ sentiment, it's on all of us to step up and use our privilege to fight for them. Everyone across the country and around the world deserves to live in safe environments where they are accepted for who they are. And we believe that change starts with everyday people taking action. So it's on all of us to get involved. I'm in awe. I owe a lot of debt and gratitude to the courage that the LGBTQ+ community, when they show up every day by living their authentic lives. As Pride Month draws to a close, please take a moment to join me in reflecting on that. And as we celebrate, let's also recommit to the fight for equality and inclusivity. We can do that in many ways, at many places, including our workplaces. So thank you, Angel Ibarra, Jasmine Hyder, and Gay Chapman. Everyone, please give them another round of applause for their outstanding achievements. Happy Pride Month, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be taking pictures in the back, so if you want to just get a group going, and then we'll be out there too. For those joining us via the virtual platform, there will be a 5-minute break while we take pictures. Thank you.
Vice President Villegas, good afternoon or good morning to you all again. It's about 11:18. We do have 3 commissioners in the room, and if you'd like, I can go ahead and establish quorum for you.
Yes, please.
Great. Again, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, establishing quorum again. It's 11:18 a.m. We have Vice President Villegas, Commissioner Corzan, and Commissioner Reyes present. Vice President Villegas, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, and welcome back, everyone, from a nice celebration for LGBTQ, and thank you to Commissioner Reyes for organizing it and leading us in this effort. All right, we're going to go on then to item number 1. Do you mind closing the back door? I think there's a lot of chatter over there. Item number 1 is by the Bureau of Engineering and Council District 14, and this is a budget increase of Highway Safety Improvement Program Cycle 6, Olympic Boulevard between Lorena Street and Soto Street, Pedestrian Crossing Safety Enhancement Project, Federal Project, number HSIPL 5006791, and this is recommending that the board authorize $73,500 in additional contingency and approve a revised construction budget of $696,649 for the Highway Safety Improvement Program Cycle 6, Olympic Boulevard between Lorena Street and Soto Street Pedestrian Crossing Safety Program. And before us, we have Mr. Zamawu Geberwald. Welcome.
Good morning. My name is Zamawu Geberwald. I'm a PM for this project. We are requesting the board to approve an increase of construction contingency.
Can you speak up to the microphone, please?
Okay, sorry. Yeah, so we are requesting the board to approve an increase of construction contingency by $73,500, which brings the total construction budget to $696,649 for Highway Safety Improvement Program Cycle 6, Olympic Boulevard between Lorena Street and Soto Street, pedestrian crossing access, pedestrian crossing safety enhancement project. On June 25, 2021, the board awarded the project to Elknor Belco Electric and approved the construction budget of $623,149. The scope of the project is to construct curb extension, curb ramp, installing activated pedestrian crossing warning device with a rapid beacon, traffic signage, and striping to intersection on Olympic Boulevard. These 2 intersections were identified as having high incident of pedestrian and vehicular accident. Currently, the construction is completed. The additional contingency of $73,500 is to cover the cost of extra work performed by the contractor. The extra work include the additional bid item quantity adjustment for various bid items. The contractor proceeded with extra work at risk. At risk. The additional bid item quantities were verified by the Bureau of Contract Administration and negotiated cost was reached. Additional contingency will be funded with a Measure M Local Return Special and Department of Transportation grant fund. This is the final construction budget increase, which is needed to issue the final closeout change order and to close out the project. So I completed my report, and if you have any question.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Commissioners, do we have any questions?
This is a federally funded project, right?
Yes.
And in terms of the inclusion, do you have the breakdown? I unfortunately don't have the supportive sheet here. In terms of the small businesses that are subs that we have, do you know what the percentages are on this project? I know that as a result of federal project, we do have some goals that need to be achieved here, but
Yeah, that one is, I think, explained on the first board report when we award the contract, but this one is just an increase of construction contingency, so I didn't have that information on this.
this one is just to clarify the additional contingency?
Yes.
Okay. And the additional contingency will help us to ensure specifically what?
That's to issue additional bid item quantity adjustment. So just for example, on a curb, usually per standard, we have like a 4 feet thickness of concrete, 4 feet thickness of a base. But when we go to the field and construct, when we demolish the ground, we find out like 14-inch of concrete pavement on the sidewalk and curb ramp area, and around like 19-inch of thickness on the bus pad.
Okay.
So, those are the difference between that.
Great.
Yeah,
So
just,
I know
just
that-
one example.
I know that this is a necessary project and look forward to supporting it. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is George Huang from the Bureau of Engineering. To also fill into what Teddy mentioned, the Bureau of Contract Administration, well, actually, this is a federally funded project, so in terms of the Business Improvement Program, we do have a DBE goal that we calculate at the beginning of the project. So that generally, I don't remember what the actual goal is for this project specifically, but it ranges between usually around 10 to 20% for the disadvantaged business enterprise goal. So the Bureau of Contract Administration actually keeps tracks of all the subcontractors that are that the prime commits to that make up that DBE percentage. So we will be coming back to the board with an acceptance board report that will BCA will be reporting if the contractor met that goal or not based on the work that the subs perform. So that information will be provided at the end when we close out the project. So this board report is is the remaining items that we need to make sure that the contractor is paid for all the contract work that they provided on this project.
So this motion requires additional work than that initially presented to us, correct?
This would be additional work, that's correct. So a lot of these are contract items.
Sure. What I wanted to better understand is that in this additional request, if it was a continuation of existing subcontractors in the project, or rather was it additional work with some additional contractors who have been added to the remaining work that's being presented today. What I do know about federal contracts is that conceptually they do allow us, as you said earlier, to make sure we have disadvantaged business involvement, and that oftentimes we are guaranteed that we have women-owned businesses, and perhaps more so with federal contracts than the other local fund contracts that come before us. So with that, I'm very clear that these things happen. It's just as a board member, I was asking the question to get a clearer indication as to where this additional work for those who have been underrepresented in other contracts, where it is. What does it look like in this particular proposal was what I wanted to know. But I am aware that as a result of the concept of the federal projects, that these are goals and that these things do in fact exist. I just wanted to know where they existed. And so if you can bring it to us later on, that would be fine.
Yeah, certainly we can provide that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pro Tem Davis. Just the $73,500, it's going to go towards, just for the public's edification, it is for unclassified excavation, soil hauling, concrete pavement, and concrete bus pad removals. And then in their attachments, it looks like they have, give me a second. And I just want to put this on public record. Since, George, you said that you know that we do have them, but you didn't expressly state them, and they are in our work, our attachment works. They have 3 firms that they're working with that are DBE and All-American Asphalt, that is OBE, and it's in the attachments, as I mentioned. And so
Sure,
it seems that
okay.
they are committed on this project to procure subcontractors of at least $108,000.
Great. I didn't see that, and thank you so much for
Yeah.
that.
All right, do we have any other questions? All right. Thank you. We have a motion by Commissioner Davis.
Second.
And we have Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by Commissioner Corsand. If you could please take roll.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then let's move on to item number 2, and this is in Council District 7, and it's a street closure, Telfair Avenue to Montague Street, Active Transportation Program Cycle 2 Pedestrian and Bicycle Neighborhood Enhancement Project, and it's recommending the board authorize a temporary full closure at the intersection of Telfair Avenue and Montague Street from June 27, 2023 to July 14, 2023 for the consideration of the Active Transportation Cycle 2 Pedestrian and Bicycle Neighborhood Intersection Enhancement Project. And before us, we have Ms. Amy Bai?
B.
B, thank you.
Good morning, Board and
Morning.
Commissioners. My name is Amy B. I'm with the Bureau of Engineering Streets Improvement Division and the project manager on this project. The Bureau is requesting for a Phase 2 temporary full closure for the intersection of Telfair Avenue and Montague Street, located in Council District 7. A brief background on the project. The project improvements include installing new curb ramps, sidewalk, implementing new roundabout striping and landscaping in 4 different locations and 4 different council districts. This project has been awarded for construction to Axis Pacific and is currently in construction. The first full closure was implemented in April 17th to May 8th of this year, but the contractor was not able to complete the roundabout construction as DWP's water main line relocation took longer than expected. Axis Pacific was instructed to reopen the intersection when the first full closure expired. Therefore, we are requesting a Phase 2 full closure at this intersection to allow the contractor to complete to complete the construction of the roundabout, work more efficiently and minimal impact to the public. The contractor will maintain access to the property's driveways and has distributed construction notices 7 days in advance. The intersection has not been closed yet. Contractors are waiting for the board to address this item. We have received approval from Council District 7 for the stages of closure and also approved LADOT temporary worksite traffic control and detour plans. This concludes my presentation, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Reyes?
Just one question. The LADWP project has been completed, right? That portion of the project?
That's correct.
So has there been additional outreach for this next phase of the project? Or is the outreach a necessity at this point because it's a temporary full closure? So what has occurred in terms of reaching out to the community and the businesses around it?
So we did distribute construction notices with the dates of the proposed closure in advance. So it was distributed last Wednesday, 7 days in advance. The homeowners, residents are aware of the closure. And the project contract is still in construction, so the construction signs are still up.
And in terms of feedback, has there been any feedback from the public?
Council office, I believe, has reached out and discussed the extending this full street closure.
So who's receiving the feedback? Is it the council
Council
office,
office.
or is it your office?
Council office.
All, the council office?
Correct.
Is responding to those feedback?
They are requesting.
Are they sharing that information with you, with the office?
They have not shared it with myself.
Okay, so I think that's important that there's communication back and forth, with the council office. So at least we are also aware of any feedback that the public has, especially the businesses and the residents around the area. And then the second thing is on the safety precautions that are being taken. What are those? In terms of pedestrian crossings, signage?
So we do have a approved detour plan that's approved by DOT for addressing traffic and also pedestrian access. So signs should be placed when the construction takes place.
Okay, go ahead. Okay.
Hi, good morning. George Huang again, Bureau of Engineering. So for the pedestrian, so usually when you do these full closures, there's always pedestrian access that can at least go through the intersection. So that will be maintained during the construction process. There will be at least local access for the residents that live in the immediate area of the closure. As Amy alluded to, the driveways will be opened. So the folks who are living near the closure or the intersection will still be able to enter their driveways and enter their properties. So those are like very basic that we make sure that DOT looks for and that we include in our traffic plan. So there's also a detour plan that will route traffic to the next adjacent street. Those are for the folks that have to drive through there, that don't live around that area, they'll be routed to, and those signs will be placed during when the full closure is in place. And in terms of the construction notices, usually, in addition to the council office, there's always usually a city contact information there. Usually it's probably our construction manager or the contractor information, phone number is always there. So we'll also check with our construction manager person and see if we received any feedback from the community.
Thank you for the info.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. All right, and just to note that this closure is starting as of yesterday, and this report's coming to us today.
So the intersection has not been closed. It's been pending approval from the board.
Okay. Thank you for putting that on the record. All right, and Commissioners, do we have a motion for this item?
So moved.
All right, Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Commissioner Davis. If you could please take roll.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith?
Please.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners.
All right, item number 3, and this is by the Bureau of Sanitation, and this is in Council District 11, and this is a sole source purchase order, Halston Inc., Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, and this is recommending that the board authorize the purchase of covers for existing primary sediment tanks located in the primary battery D and the installation of covers for existing primary sedimentation tanks located in primary battery B, C, and D at Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant with a maximum cost of $11,176,000, including taxes, shipping, and handling. And number 2, authorize the Director of Bureau of Sanitation to direct the Department of General Services to create a sole source one-time purchase order for the vendor Halston Inc. for this purchase. And before us today, we have Ms. Sherry Simons. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sherry Simons, Senior Environmental Engineer, LA San at Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. And to reiterate, I'm here to ask to authorize or to get authorization for the purchase and installation of covers for the existing primary sedimentation tanks located in primary battery D, and the installation of covers for primary sedimentation tanks located at primary batteries B and C at Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant with the maximum cost of $11,176,000, including taxes, shipping, and handling. And also to authorize the Director and General Manager of LA San and Environment, or the Bureau of Sanitation, to direct the Department of General Services to create a sole source one-time purchase order for the vendor Halston for this purchase. And I'll just give a very brief background on the wastewater treatment process and then how these covers are integral to that process. In the wastewater treatment process, one of the first steps is primary sedimentation, which removes the solid material from the wastewater under the force of gravity. And the process consists of large rectangular tanks underground that operate in parallel. So as the wastewater enters the tank, its velocity and turbulence decrease, and the heavy material settles to the bottom. And then any floatable material, such as grease or plastics, they rise to the top. And all of this material is collected by a mechanical chain and flight system, and it's pumped then to the solids handling processes, the next downstream process. And then the treated wastewater from the tanks, that goes to the next liquids handling process or secondary treatment. And so just to give you some background on this project, the plant has 27 primary treatment tanks, and they're divided among 4 batteries, A, B, C, and D. And these tanks have cover systems on them that they provide access to that mechanical equipment, that solids collection equipment that's inside the tanks. In addition, those covers also provide safety for employees working in the area to prevent falls into the tanks. And then additionally, these covers provide a seal over the tanks that prevents foul odors from escaping. And that foul air that's off gases from the treatment, that's collected and treated and collected and conveyed to another treatment system that treats foul airs. So these covers are a necessary part of the treatment process. And so the existing covers, they've been in service for approximately 15 to 20 years, and that they're at the end of their useful lives. The main cause of failure of the existing covers is sulfide and galvanic corrosion. And it's the sulfides that off-gas for the treatment process, they're the ones attacking the underside of these covers and causing corrosion. And any mixed materials that were in the original installation, they can cause galvanic reactions that also contribute to corrosion and a loss of structural integrity. And to give you an idea of the size of this project, the covers on B and C batteries, they're approximately 40,000 square feet. And the cover area on primary battery D is approximately 35,000 square feet. So we are talking about a large surface area that needs to be covered. And this is a multi-year project. In fiscal year 2021, Hyperion initiated a project to replace all of the covers. They were going to be purchased by LA San and then installed by, the original intent was to be installed by Hyperion maintenance staff. Outside contractors would not be used for the installation. So in fiscal year 2021, Hyperion purchased covers for primary battery A, and Hyperion maintenance staff installed them. In fiscal year 21-22, Hyperion purchased covers for primary batteries B and C. Those covers are currently in fabrication. And it was the original intent to have Hyperion maintenance staff install those covers. But as I said, resources are tight, and there's a schedule we'd like to meet for having these covers replaced. So at this point, we are asking for the manufacturer to provide installation for these covers. And then, and right now, we're requesting the purchase and installation for the covers on primary battery D. For the same reasons, we're trying to get these installed by the deadlines that we have, or the established deadlines. And so, and having the manufacturer be able to do these covers, it does accelerate the schedule. So these new covers, they're going to be constructed of 6,000 extruded aluminum, which has better corrosion resistance than the existing covers, which are in anodized aluminum. and also the hardware. We're all going to make sure that this hardware, it's been specified that this hardware is going to be isolated from galvanic reaction. So it'll be all same, not just the cover, but the hardware that holds it down to the surface, it'll all be of the same material. Any materials that have to be mixed, they will have an interface that prevents them from reacting chemically and electrically. And so these features should make these new covers more corrosion resistant, and they should have a much longer life than the existing ones that we've had. And we are requesting also a sole source. And let's see. We're asking for a sole source from Halston because they are the manufacturers of the covers in primary battery A, and they are also the manufacturer. They're also the vendor that's providing the covers for primary batteries B and C. And so this sole source on D battery will help maintain that standardization. So there'll be one source of parts if any of these covers need any kind of repairs in the future. And then also when primary battery A, when Hyperion Maintenance was installing those covers, Halston did provide assistance to the plant, actually at no additional cost, to check and verify that they were installed to their specifications, so that they'd be able to maintain any kind of warranties or any performance guarantees. And also to reiterate, Halston was the only bidder on the original project when it first started in fiscal year 2021. And so for the status of financing, there's no impact to the general fund. This is provided by sanitation, construction, and maintenance, and as a capital purchase. And that's what I've concluded. If there are any questions?
Thank you.
Oh, sure.
Thank you for your report. It was very thorough. Do we have any questions on this item? Commissioner Reyes?
So can you just explain for the public's edification why we are having a sole source and why it needs to be a customized type of manufacturing for the tanks?
The sole source is a continuation because existing 3/4 of the batteries already have or are already being fabricated by Halston. This would complete the final 25% that we're asking to purchase. This would be the final. Portion, and would be provided by them. It helps to standardize the equipment among all of the batteries. Let's see. In addition, for the other items that we had for sole source, you also asked why this type of vendor. As I mentioned, these covers, they need to be manufactured for safety. So if somebody were to fall, it would prevent somebody from falling into the tank. And so they have to have a certain structural integrity. In addition, this is a very corrosive environment. So these covers, they're made out of an aluminum, or in this case, an anodized aluminum, or excuse me, a Series 6000 aluminum, which is very corrosion resistant. It's typically what you see installed in marine environments. And actually, this manufacturer does supply to a lot of the marine industry. And then in addition, they're also coated on the bottom with another corrosion-resistant layer. So they are a specialty item, and then this company is able to provide to meet the specifications that the city has provided. In addition, they are a custom fit. One of the other functions that these covers have is to provide a complete seal, because otherwise these are open tanks with sewage. So these are these would perform a tight seal. So for example, after these are installed, we could do for example, a smoke test. So where we could light a smoke candle underneath the covers and then confirm that there is no escape from any of the connections. Did that answer? It'll be consistent among all 4 batteries. Significantly, the previous covers were in anodized aluminum, and they also had mixed materials on them that contributed to the corrosion. It was actually it was thin. It was a single sheet of anodized aluminum, where these covers are multi-layer of aluminum with a bottom layer of a plastic corrosion-resistant coating. Timetable, it's going to be done in phases by battery. Final timetable is June of 2024. Yes, we are. And with this item, Hyperion does meet regularly with the City of El Segundo, and I would just like to confirm that this is an item that's a regularly scheduled item on the agenda and provide updates on that. And then, yes, I did say that the final, the completion date is June 2024. Yeah, June 2024. But we're working with the vendor, where we're meeting with them bi-weekly. They were not able to confirm their completion date. They've given us verbals, but they will not put it in writing. But we're meeting with them bi-weekly to keep this project on track and identify hurdles as soon as possible so that we can remove them. Yep. Yeah, and that's one of the other things. When I mentioned that the completion date is June of 2024, as covers are being fabricated, the vendor is, once he has a full truckload, he's shipping them out so that they can be installed. So it should be progressively getting better. It's not going to be as it is, and then finally on June 30th of 2024, everything will be installed. It'll be done in phases as they're being fabricated. Oh, sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. Those were excellent questions. Do we have any other questions, Commissioner Davis?
No, I don't have any inquiry on this one.
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad that this work is getting done, and we will, suffice with our permits by the South Coast Air Quality Management District as well. All right. Do we have a motion to approve this item?
I second.
Thank you. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by Commissioner Reyes. If you can please take roll.
Absolutely. Let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to consider this item to move forward forthwith? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on then to item number 4, and this is in Council District 11, and this is a task order solicitation, number SN 161, Arcadis US Inc., on-call consultings list. And this is recommending that the board authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or designee to award TOS SN 161 to Arcadis US Inc. From the on-call consultants list. And number 2, approve a total budget of $395,000, including $43,624 in contingency to fund technical support in the assessment and evaluation of an existing digester gas collection, storage, and conveyance system in the following process areas for long-term reliability and safety: anaerobic digesters to the low-pressure gas holders and gas compressors. And the acronym for low-pressure gas holder is LPGH. So second, we have LPGH to the flares. Third, gas compressors to the
desulfurization.
I know I can say it in my head, it's not computing.
But
Thank you.
we can call it low carb.
No, it's a desulfurization facility, and a desulfurization facility to the flares, and desulfurization facility to the Hyperion Bioenergy Facility and Steam Boiler. And third, approve the long-term engagement starting from the notice to proceed date to July 22nd, 2024. And before us to present is Thu Van Ito.
Yes, good morning, the board commissioner. My name is Thu Van Ho. I am process engineer at the LA San Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. Today I'm providing you a presentation on the on-call contract task order solicitation SN 161 Hyperion digester gas collection, conveyance system, and storage system assessment study. The reason to initiate this task is to assess the condition of existing piping and appurtenance to adequately and safely convey the digester gas to the various facilities at the Hyperion plant. Also improve the reliability and efficiency of digester gas collection and gas handling system to comply with regulation. Therefore, on the September 1st, 2022, LA San issued a task to 24 primes on the on-call consultant list and invited them to the pre-proposal meeting that was held in mid-September 2022. At the meeting, we have 7 prime attended the meeting and 5 primes submitted negative responsive due to unavailability of experts to complete on tasks within the task schedule. On October 17, 2022, LA San received a proposal from 2 consulting firms. One is Arcadis and another one is Atkin North America, Inc. Upon evaluation of all proposals and their responses to questionnaire, LA San panel recommended awarding the contract to Arcadis because Arcadis demonstrated a thorough knowledge of LA San procedure and practice and a solid understanding of the scope of services in addition to the better pricing structure. And they also offer extensive technical experience and expertise on the local project related to the digester gas handling system. The consultant, they will provide the scope of services include but not limited to evaluation of existing digester gas handling system at Hyperion, including evaluation of structural integrity of supporting structure, condition and corrosion assessment of all pipes, valves, and equipment. And they also need to conduct the ultrasonic testing of the gas pipeline and evaluation of digester gas instrumentation. And they also need to identify and evaluate remedial measures for addressing deficiency in the digester gas handling system, propose best technology for sustainability of the digester gas collection system, and also prepare and submit a technical conceptual report with recommendation, and perform any additional tasks that may be required as part of the study as directed by task manager. Provide project management support such as to coordinate with the stakeholder, sub-consultants, LA San, and direct and review sub-consultant work before they submit it to sanitation for approval, and so on. In regards to the business inclusion program, Arcadis pledged 20.8% MBE, 10.4% WBE, 10.4% SBE, and 0% for EBE, DVBE, and OBE. This cost is funded by the Sewer Capital Fund for not exceeding the total amount of $395,000. There is no impact to the general fund. In conclusion, LA San is requesting the Board of Public Works to authorize the sanitation director and general manager or her designee to award this contract to Arcadis, approve the total budgets of $395,000 and the term of engagement from the date of notice to proceed through July 22nd, 2024. Thank you, and I'm ready and happy to answer your question.
Thank you for your report. That was very thorough. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item? No. Just have a quick question. Thank you again for your report. Seeing that this is a study, do we need this study before we take additional action or decisions for Hyperion for our future digesters?
Because you know this is the on-call contract, it expires by July 22nd, 2004. And right now, we also, in response to the order advancement of AKMD, to have the new flare station. And this is a good time for us to go through order assessment. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. It'll give us, and so the timeline, can you just repeat it one more time?
The timeline of the master on-call contract is will expire by July 22nd, 2024, next year.
Okay, so it'll be extended till next year. Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, okay, that'll at least glean some additional information for decision-making.
After we have the conceptual report and we got the recommendation from the consultant, then my management will evaluate the report and they will prioritize which one we need to do first, and which one is the in-house staff can handle, and which one we can send it to Bureau of Engineering for pre-design and design in order to relate it to the new flare station project. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, I don't see any questions. Do we have a motion to approve this item? So moved. All right, and we have a second by, thank you, by Commissioner Davis. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Reyes and a second by Pro Tem Davis. If you can please take roll.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then let's move on to item number 5. And this is in all council districts. And it's a memorandum of understanding, City of Los Angeles and 28 public agencies, coordinated integrated monitoring programs, and the watershed management program, recommending that the board approve and forward this report with the transmittals to the mayor and for the authority to execute a 3-year proposed memorandum of agreement, or an MOA, between the City of Los Angeles and 28 public agencies regarding the administration and cost sharing for the implementation and the coordination, implementing the coordinated integrated monitoring programs and the watershed management programs for the Dominguez Channel, Upper LA River, Bayona Creek, and the Santa Monica Bay Jurisdiction 2 and 3 watershed management groups. And number 2, upon the mayor's authorization, the president or 2 commissioners of the Board of Public Works and the director, and with the director of Bureau of Sanitation, will execute the MOA. And before us, we have Miller, is that Zhao?
Zhao.
Zhao, thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas, members of the board. My name is Miller Zhao. I'm an environmental supervisor in the Watershed Protection Division, and I'm also joined here by Taranay Nakah, who's one of our assistant division managers. So today we're asking the board for approval to approve 4 new MOAs in partnership with 28 other public agencies. to continue existing work in the 4 major watershed management groups for the city of LA. Vice President Villegas just mentioned, those being Upper LA River, Ballona Creek, Dominguez Channel, and Santa Monica Bay. So since 2015, the individual cities in these watershed management groups have voluntarily elected to collaborate to implement the requirements of the countywide stormwater municipal permit, with the city of LA acting as a lead agency in each group. This is the 3rd MOA of its kind since 2015, and it represents a continuation of the past 2 MOA terms, but it contains some improvements from experiences and lessons learned that has been streamlined for clarity and flexibility for a few new components. So this work primarily consists of implementing the monitoring and reporting requirements associated with that permit, including administrative compliance with our watershed management programs. So this includes collecting the samples, building the monitoring stations, leading reporting efforts, as well as hosting monthly meetings with the other permittees and facilitating the review of monitoring data and compliance documents before submitting them to the Regional Water Quality Control Board. So this work is cost shared and reimbursed by the other agencies as determined by the percent land area relative to the total watershed area in each respective group, which will offset a portion of the city's obligation. So the total estimated cost of implementing the 4 MOAs across the 3-year term is $15.7 million, and the city of LA's obligation is estimated at $9.4 million, and that's just based on how much land area we take up in, relative to these watersheds. The 4 MOAs, they've been reviewed by city attorney and approved, and just to clarify, we're not asking for funding here today, just to approve the agreement and establish that cost-sharing framework so that we can continue our division's core operations. And that's all I have from my presentation, so we'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much for that. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item?
I wanted to ask, in terms of, you said there's a collaboration between the areas, between the 4 areas, and our percentage of it is, how much? How much is the Los Angeles portion is 9?
It is 9.4 million is our obligation. We do get reimbursed for the work we do for a part of that, so it's nice that we don't have to pay, you know, all of our efforts goes and is cost shared as well. And cities watershed area in the various groups varies from high 80% in the Ballona Creek to how much in the upper Los Angeles River. 73%, 60%. So because we lead, we have the majority of the watershed area in each watershed group.
Okay, and so these MOAs will be enacted when? What's the timeline of enactment?
July 1st. So that's why we're so happy we got to present here today and hope you will approve so we can get it straight to the mayor's office.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Davis. Do we have any other questions? All right, thank you, Commissioner Davis. We have a motion by Pro Tem Davis. Do we have a second? Thank you. We have a second by Commissioner Corsan. Dr. Campos, if you can please take roll call.
Yes, let's start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzan.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Would you like to move this, Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith? Thank you.
Yes.
We will send that to the mayor as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. All right, moving on then, we have an AFE, and this is in Council District 6, Council District 11. This is item number 6. And this is an AFE, Southern California Gas Company, Bureau of Sanitation, Office of Accounting are requesting board approval and execution of the authority for expenditure in the amount of $2 million, new adjusted amount of $3,184,000 to pay for natural gas utility fees for the Hyperion Bioenergy Facility operations at Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant for the period of July 1, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. And before us, we have Octavio Murillo.
Yes.
Yeah. Good afternoon, or good morning. Yeah, good afternoon.
Good afternoon or good morning, board members. My name is Octavio Murillo with LA Sanitation, representing Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. And this request is to increase established funding to pay natural gas utility fees for the Hyperion Bioenergy Facility operations at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. Following a review of current encumbrances, it was determined that an additional $1.5 million would be required to pay projected natural gas utility fees and $500,000 to pay natural gas fees for building, heating, and boilers at Hyperion. This authority is requested for the period of July 1st, 2022 to June 30th, 2023. So there's, this is coming from the Sewer Operations and Maintenance Fund. There's no impact to the general fund. Just a little bit of a background. With the increase in natural gas prices, it's affected our operations for the bioenergy facility, and a lot of our funds were depleted during the first half of the fiscal year because of the unforeseen increase in natural gas prices. Any questions?
Commissioners, do we have any questions on this item? That's quite a jump.
I do have a question.
Go right ahead, Commissioner Corson.
I do know, if I recall correctly from my tour last year, we do capture some energy and reuse it on site.
Yeah, the electricity that is coming from the bioenergy facility, 100% of it is used on site.
Do we have a dollar amount that we could claim, like how much that would cost if we didn't do that?
If we didn't do the,
Well, like what like?
if we didn't produce our own electricity,
Yes. If we didn't recycle and use our own, like, do we have a dollar amount? Because that gives a sense of eventually of getting to a point where maybe we are 100% recyclable, right?
well, I don't have the dollar amount with me, but even without any electricity production, we would need to combust 100% of our biogas in our flares, and that's just losing energy that we're producing from the methane gas produced via our digesters. So that's something that we wouldn't want to do. And we have been using 100% of the biogas, and right now we have decreased some of our electricity production, which means we've decreased some of our natural gas purchase. So that's, I mean, that's all that we've done recently, but
All right.
Thank you. Commissioner Corson, are you done with your questions? Yeah. All right. And any other further questions?
Did you mention in your report the reason for the increase?
so
This is for the fiscal year of July 1st, 22 to July, oh, this is, I see. This is for the period of the, from 22nd, from 2022 to 2023, right?
this fiscal year, correct.
Right. Now, is this an increase from the last?
It's an increase from the original funds. So it's an increase.
Fiscal.
Yes, well, for this, yeah,
Correct.
for this term.
And what were the factors that caused the increase from last fiscal year to this fiscal year?
So the main factor was the increase in natural gas cost, and I think we all saw that at our homes. Some of it even doubled, quadrupled, significantly, especially in the month of January, and that just, it depleted. I mean, we did not see that coming in, depleted our funds within the first half of the fiscal year. That was the main player. Second, we have seen a small decrease in our biogas, which that would mean we would need to supplement it with something else, which is natural gas, to produce our electricity. And well, and the other one is to just keep our employees warm during the winter months.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that
You're welcome.
information.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve this item?
So move.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Reyes, and I'll second that. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Commissioner Reyes and a second by myself. If we could please take a roll call.
Yes, we'll open up the roll call. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis, Commissioner Corzine,
Aye.
and Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith?
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Let's move on then to item number 7. And this is administrative item, and this is specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids in Council Districts 3, 5, 7, 10, 12, and 14 for the sidewalk repair program, package number 59. And this is work order E1909076, estimated value of $1,926,873, and a bid receipt date of August 9th, 2023. Do we have a motion to approve this item? All right, and I'll second that. Dr. Campos, we have a motion by Pro Tem Davis and a second by myself. If you could please take roll call on this one.
Absolutely. We'll start the voting tabulation. We'll start with you, Vice President Villegas.
Aye.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Aye.
Commissioner Corzine.
Aye.
And Commissioner Reyes.
Aye.
This motion is adopted and carries unanimous. Madam Chair, would you like to move this item forward forthwith?
Yes, please, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item number 8 is an oral report, and this is advisement number 1, Public Works Trust Fund update, Board of Public Works, and this was continued from 2 weeks ago, June 14th. And before us, we have Mr. Norman Tanada. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Villegas. Good afternoon, Vice President, Board Commissioners, City Attorney, Executive Officer, and Bureau representatives. Dr. Campos is currently distributing a handout, which is covers more or less my oral report for today. Again, my name is Norman Tanyada with the Board of Public Works, Senior Analyst with the Financial Management Section. Again, I'm here to present the Public Works Trust Fund semi-annual status update through December 31, 2022. As of June 30, 2022, the Public Works Trust Fund had a balance of $144.3 million. As of December 31, 2022, the Public Works Trust Fund had a balance of $149.5 million. During the 6-month period between June and December, total inflows or deposits within the 40-plus revenue source accounts within the fund totaled $41 million. Total outflows like refunds to depositors, transfers to general fund and special fund, expenditures, etc., totaled $35.8 million. The difference of $5.2 million resulted in an increase in the Public Works Trust Fund's balance over this time period. In regards to the cash accounted for within the Public Works Trust Fund, loan receivables, accrued interest, and loans pending disbursement, which includes the staff loan to BSS of $25 million, totals $77.3 million. Appropriation accounts with open encumbrances and uncommitted balances and the special projects account total $9.2 million. And working capital set aside for future transfers to the general fund and special fund or possible refunds to depositors is at $37.4 million. Pending transfers to the special fund and general fund that occurred after December through June totals $6.7 million, leaving a net cash balance of $32.3 million. In regards to the overview of the Public Works Trust Fund and its top 5 accounts, the top 5 accounts equate to about 75.4% of the Public Works Trust Fund balance, with a total of $112.7 million. Of the top 5 accounts, the top 2 are the General Improvement Guarantee deposits at $44.6 million, and the B permit deposits at $44 million. In regards to the loans that have been dispersed from the Public Works Trust Fund, total loan receivables with accrued interest is $52.3 million. This accounts for 11 active loans from the Public Works Trust Fund. The Financial Management Section continues to send at least quarterly updates to these borrowers to remind them of the balance due, what they paid to date, so on and so forth. And with our efforts, I wanted to highlight some payments that should be occurring within the next months or have occurred already. In regards to loan number 1, the seismic bridge improvement $10 million loan, that is expected to be fully paid by June 2024. Loan number 3, that's related to the Taylor Yard loan, that was just paid off in March. Loan number 4, the North Atwater Multimodal Bridge loan of $7 million. Happy to report that $2.8 million of payments is expected next fiscal year, 23-24. If you recall, they were 2 to 3 years in arrears prior to this fiscal year. So with that $2.8 million payment, they will be they will be caught up with their payment plan. In regards to loan number 6, Greater Greener LA, that was paid off in March. And loan number 8, the $25 million loan to the Bureau of Sanitation for the purchase of fleet vehicles, that is expected to be paid off in full this August during fiscal year 23-24. In regards to other highlights that the financial management section is working on, we continue to review another revenue source account within the Public Works Trust Fund, which is the Street Tree Revenue Source Account, which has a $1.9 million balance and approximately about 700 deposits with open balances that date back to 1989 or prior to 1989 and through 2014. So we're currently looking at these deposits to see if trees were planted, if refunds are owed to depositors, or if refunds are owed for work done to the bureaus and so on and so forth. So we hope to come back before the board this coming fiscal year to make recommendations on what can be done with this $1.9 million within this revenue source account. Also, there are 3 other revenue source accounts within the Public Works Trust Fund which are related to the tree guarantee fee. Through May of 2023, a total of $867,000 has been deposited into this account, which equates to the planting of 374 additional trees. Once funding has closed at the end of this month, we'll do the final accounting, and these funds will be transferred to the Bureau of Street Services, UFD, for the planting of these trees. This currently concludes my oral report through December 2022. We will be back hopefully sometime in October to provide additional update through the close of this fiscal year, covering the close of this fiscal year.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Commissioners, do we have any questions for Mr. Tanada on this item?
Yeah, I do.
Go right ahead.
As we look at the various accounts that you have been able to assess, are there rules that will allow us to utilize these funds that have been discovered through your work and evaluation to reinvest those dollars back into some of the same services, number one, or number two, to be able to bring those dollars to one of the authorities over Public Works, either the Public Works Board of Commissioners or City Council, that will allow those funds to be rededicated to some other Public Works task. Can you elaborate on your work in that regard and on the discovery of the dormant accounts and any existing policies or rules that impact your discovery of those funds?
Great. Thank you for your question, Pro Tem Davis. Part of the reason why my position was created was when Dr. Campos, I would say maybe about 10 or so years ago, did a nexus study of the Public Works Trust Fund because prior to that, my position was vacant, and we noticed an increase in the growth of the Public Works Trust Fund. So an outside consultant was brought in. They performed a nexus study to take a look at, the 40-plus revenue source accounts within the fund. And to answer your question about what rules we have to follow, the Mitigation Fee Act is one of the main laws that we must follow when investigating the fund itself, which is why I mentioned earlier, when we're reviewing revenue source accounts, we look at the time of the deposits. So the Mitigation Fee Act came out in 1989. So anything prior to 1989, prior to this Mitigation Fee Act, we have the city has more flexibility to repurpose the funds. But when I say repurpose, there has to be a nexus to the original purpose of the deposit. So basically what we're looking at is, again, the time of the deposit, the original purpose of the deposit, and if the work was done by one of the contractors or by the depositor or by the bureaus. If the work was done, we either refund, again, the depositor or the bureaus, or if the work was not done, for example, a tree planting and whatnot, then we transfer those funds with your approval, city council, mayor approval, to plant additional trees. If you recall, we were before the board last fiscal year for one of our older accounts, the Oak Tree Deposit Account, where we were able to identify about 870,000 or so to plant, I forget, an X amount of oak trees, because these were old deposits. With the assistance of the Bureau of Street Services, UFD, we determined that some of these oak trees were not planted, so we were able to repurpose that money to plant additional oak trees in the council district within the area of the original deposit. So that's what we're doing now with the street tree deposit account. Again, is looking at 700 or so deposits to see again the time of the deposit, the location of the deposit, and working with UFD to determine whether the tree was planted or not, and make a game plan from there. If the tree was not planted, then again we would take full inventory of these deposits and make recommendations for your board to approve and council mayor as well. So pretty much again these we're starting up with the smaller revenue source accounts. As you can see, some of these are pretty big. So hopefully we can decrease the number of active revenue source accounts as we continue to move down the list of funds that we can review.
So it's highly likely that as we continue to assess these accounts, that we might be able to increase the service delivery of some of those things that have been oversights in the past, where there had not been follow through on the work as you had suggested. We might be able to repurpose, therefore increase the services that we are providing currently because of this money that we are being able to assess in the work that you're doing. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
And Dr. Davis, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, if I can just build onto what Mr. Tañada has indicated. About 5, 6, 7 years ago when we were conducting the Nexus study, we knew that there was some portion of the trust fund that could be repurposed or at least reinvested back into public works infrastructure projects. At that time, we were estimating anywhere from $30 to $40 million that could be available. As you notice in this report, there is one line item called the pre-post 1989 restricted balance. It's about $7.3 million. That balance was at one point about $15 to $16 million. So we are slowly decreasing that balance. And so that's one of the accounts that we're looking at in addition to the street tree accounts that Mr. Tañada has indicated. And then there's also public infrastructure projects, B permits that we can repurpose in those areas. So in total, about maybe 15%, no more than 20% of the balance could be in that category of potential repurposing, and that's exactly what Mr. Tañada and his team are working on slowly. It's more than 10,000 plus deposits, and going through deposits may take several days to weeks, sometimes even months, just to identify that deposit and do the investigation before we can propose a nexus or have a reasonable relationship to the deposit before we can repurpose the funds. So in short, yes, we have some funds that can be repurposed. We are working away with that. We have a very clear mission of addressing those deposits that could be repurposed. There has been some hiccups in terms of challenges. We lost one employee for our E&U permits, which is our excavation and utility permits. We lost that person through the separation incentive program almost 3 years ago. As much as we've been proposing to bring that position back, we have not been successful in getting that position restored, and that position itself is probably worth about $5 to $8 million. And so we continue our struggle, we continue our advocacy to get that position restored, but that has been one of the challenges in the E&U permit. Street trees and also the tree guarantee, Norman and his team, Mr. Tañada and his team are very well on top of that. So it's clear to me that when we have those dedicated resources, investing just a little bit into this trust fund will produce and yield a high return on your investment.
So when you say repurpose, we're talking about reinvesting the money in the same task for which it was originally intended, correct?
That is our number one goal. In some cases, when there is a reasonable relationship that we can identify, we have expanded our boundary to reinvest it back into the council district in which we collected the funds for. But the purpose, the main goal is to repurpose it back to the original intent. So for example, if it was for a street improvement, we want to reinvest it back to street improvement. If it was for a tree, then we want to make sure that we're either maintaining trees or planting trees or trimming trees or watering trees. So we want to keep the nexus very close, but we do have some flexibility in terms of where we invested, and we are reinvesting it back in the council district in which we collected the funds.
Okay, my other question is, as we look at these multiple accounts, are these interest drawing revenue generating accounts for interest that we are gaining, because many of these accounts have been operating for long periods of time? Are their interest rates accruing during this period of time? And if so, are we assessing the value of that interest? And how do we manage the interest if, in fact, there is some of these accounts that have been dormant and have been available acquiring interest for a long period of time?
Great question, Dr. Davis. So in regards to the Public Works Trust Fund is an interest-bearing account, and any interest earned from this account is transferred to the general fund on a yearly basis. I don't have the exact dollar amount, but we do look at it on a yearly.
Fund, we're speaking of the City of
The
Los
city
Angeles General Fund. There is not a general fund for public works, is there?
No.
Okay.
Right. So.
Well, that wouldn't be general. That would be public works.
So yes, it would be transferred to the city general fund. Any interest accrued within the Public Works Trust Fund does get transferred on a yearly basis to the city general fund.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Davis,
So do we
that's
have-
an excellent question too, and I can just chime in before
Yes.
you add the next question. I just wanted to chime in there. We do earn interest on the Public Works Trust Fund. That interest is mixed in with our city treasurer or the Office of Finance, and we do invest these funds, and we do receive interest. So that interest earned goes back to the general fund. Anywhere from about $1.1 to $1.4 million per year is earned from this account, and so any account funding that we have that earns that interest gets repurposed or transferred back to the general fund for their flexibility. Now, there are some funds that we transfer to a special fund. For example, when your board and the city council approves a loan and that loan goes to a special interest earning account, we do ask for that interest to be repaid back to the Public Works Trust Fund, simply because that interest does not end up with the general fund. At the end of the day, it stays within that special fund. So if you notice on your handout, there is a special column that we added several years ago that talks about the accrued interest on those loans. The accrued interest to date has been about $600,000 that we are now recollecting, if you will, or assessing and collecting back for the Public Works Trust Fund. Otherwise, those special funds would be accruing that interest, and then they can reinvest based on their special fund. And so our argument to this board and proposal to this board about 4 years ago was, let's assess the interest, let's collect the interest, and the interest should come back to the Public Works so that the general fund can repurpose it based on its need. Now, there was some individuals, or not individuals, but just some departments, in this case, the CAO's office, was arguing that the interest earned would be less than the amount of the tracking and the monitoring of that interest. We now have evidence 4 years into the discussion that it's accumulating about $600,000-$700,000 per year in these loans. So this $600,000-$700,000 could represent 6 individuals that can be repurposed or possibly added back to the Public Works Trust Fund. It could be additional money that the city can reinvest in public works infrastructure. So we're proving our point by assessing this interest and documenting the interest so that we know and we can monetize what that value is on that interest earned.
And I think that conversation is critically important as we not only look holistically and from a macro perspective, the big picture, but as we look at the little picture and reinvesting in our departments in the city. If, in fact, the Public Works Department in the city brings this kind of interest, it's critically important that we continue the potential growth and development of the Public Works Department. Because after all, what we do, our role and our responsibility is to serve the citizens of Los Angeles. The citizens of Los Angeles are consistently and continuously growing. And so they deserve and they have earned, based upon the productivity of the revenues that we generate, a department that is able to match their needs. So as we think about this interest, it is important to have this conversation with our leaders in the office about how we reinvest in public works in its role and responsibilities to continue to keep up with the demand of public works in the nation's second largest city. We can't continue, even if we look scientifically at the pollination process. A bee reinvests pollen back in the same plant that it gets it from. And so what I am saying is that as you all describe to us, on this level, what revenue-generating opportunities have been provided to the city, we need to also have a reciprocal relationship where the city understands the value of what we're doing in public works, and we continue to keep up with the demand of public works in the nation's second largest city. So I would hope that you would be able to address that as you talk about the findings of your work. So we're not just finding interest and just turning it over to the general fund without some conversation that challenges leadership about reinvestment in the very department that brought about this productivity. And we are the ones to have that conversation. If not us, who? Somebody in another department is not going to have it. So if we are doing this assessment, if we're doing this evaluation, if we are understanding what our value has been to the general fund, let us not stop there. Let us have a valuable conversation about the necessary growth and development of public works services in the city of Los Angeles. That's my takeaway.
Thank you, Pro Tem Davis. Commissioners, do we have any other questions? I don't see any other hands raised. I think this is just a receive and file. Is that correct, Dr. Campos?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Norman.
Thank you.
We're good. Thank you. All right. Then let's get on to our last item, and we have public comment from Mr. Arnold Sachs.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Arnold Sachs. So I'm just gazing through this program from Metro, Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority. I'm wondering where the corporation, Metropolitan Transportation Corporation, fits in. I also notice here it says Federal Transit Administration. I always thought it was the Federal Transportation Administration. When did the federal government come to Transit Administration? And Cal State Transportation Agency. What happened to Caltrans? Isn't Caltrans the state agency? So why did it change? And I'm wondering about TIFIA loans, which are federal funds that are used to lower the cost. Why are they not deducted from the costs of some of these transportation projects, and instead they're just added in? And how come it's taken over 40 years to build this purple line? 40 years. Who's in charge? What is going on with the construction authorities? What is going on with the Orange County Building and Trade Association being used? It's all FUD. That's F-U-D. It's the scandal. It's the privatization of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. It's the worst. They only built one line going up to North Hollywood. They only built one line going westbound. You can get on the stations and you'll see, if you get on at Alvarado, you'll see how crappy it is. It's a disgrace. You have people living underground. And you expect them, when is there an expected completion date for any of these projects? 40 years. They still haven't gotten to the LAX yet. 40 years of building this crap.
2 minutes.
Thank you. All right, let's move on then after public comment. Thank you. And this is, this item was continued from last week, and this is transportation project updates from Metro and Department of Transportation. And before us, we have the LA Metro Dean and Matt Antonelli.
Good afternoon, Vice President and the board. Happy to present you in person update on the LA Metro project. Since last time we met, two things happened. We opened the Crenshaw line last October, and recently we opened the Regional Connector line as well. So you're not going to see update for the Crenshaw line. Regional Connector, you will have update, but that's going to be the last time we're providing update for the Region Connect. In the same time, we're adding two more projects coming online. This time is just to introduce you to the scope of the project. There is no construction yet, but just to tell you that they're coming and we'll be including it in the in future update. So we can start with the first project, the Region Connector. Matt Antonelli, Deputy Chief Program Management, will provide the presentation.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Happy to be here. So Regional Connector, obviously you know about the project, but it's a 2-mile underground project that's been under construction since 2014. It's been a long road, but happy to report that we are open for revenue service. So go to the next slide. Share some of the finished products from each of these 3 stations. So the first one here is the Little Tokyo Arts District station. You can see from opening day we had quite an excitement with a crowd and a line of people waiting to get on. So it was a great day and a great environment for people to celebrate the system. The next slide. The historic Broadway station, its final product here down the street from this building. Again, you can see all the artwork that's been installed and everything that's been created for the public there. The next station, or next slide. The Grand Avenue Bunker Hill station is its final product as well. Hopefully you all have a chance to come out and visit the stations and see the great work that the men and women of the construction trade have been able to provide. It's been a great project, and we're happy that they're able to finally share it with the public and get some excitement out there. Happy to report that Metro has been able to receive a lot of very positive comments, both from people in the streets, but also from publications and news agencies as well. We've also seen an uptick in our ridership as well through the A&E line. So we're already starting to see some of that benefit that this project has really been able to create. Next slide. We do have some civil restoration still underway. I think last time we talked about some of the work on Flower Street and Alameda that we had postponed. So that is underway right now. We hope to have that completed here within the next month and a half. And so we'll be able to finish all of the street restoration and be able to really start the buy-off process with the city and Con Ed, making sure everything's built per plan. Next slide. So happy to report the AT&T work on 2nd Street. I know that's been a long topic here with me in this board in the past. That is all completed and all paved and bought off. Now we're starting to focus, like I said, on Flower Street south of 6 and then continuing on Alameda and hope to have that done. As far as community relations, public outreach, nothing changed here. Our team is led by Olga. She's done a fantastic job, as you all are probably aware. We're not getting any complaints and working with the community. And then the next slide is our business interruption fund. We don't have any changes to that. As Sammy said, it's probably the last presentation for regional. I just want to thank you all. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with you all. And I know we've had some different times to different requests, and you guys have always been able to partner with us at the project level and come visit the project and show the support. And so I just wanted to thank you all for that, and hopefully you all be able to enjoy the system that's been open. Any questions?
Well, I just want to say that today, City Council commemorated the 50th year of Mayor Tom Bradley's being the first African American in a big major city in this country. But the importance of today is that this was a vision for Mayor Bradley in terms of making sure that Los Angeles had a transportation system that would further enhance communication between the various communities that make up Los Angeles. And whether it's a socioeconomically advantaged or disadvantaged area, transportation was going to be the bridge that brought all Los Angelinos together. And in the earlier presentation of the leader who presented here today, he had made points that we've already completed much of this project. And so to that, it was also mentioned by a constituent that it's been 40 years, well, it's been 50 years that Tom Bradley first came into office. but with the vision and the forward thinking and the understanding how critically important transportation is to increasing the quality of life for all of us. And so I want to thank you all for staying the course on this very difficult project in a very difficult city, and for already having accomplished some of our dream. The Crenshaw line, an area where Julian Dixon, who was a member of Congress, who carried the water, not only for Tom Bradley, but for the city of Los Angeles in Congress, to get this federal dollars. And we know that this project was not and is not built on just local money.
Absolutely.
We know the federal government has a big stick in this reality. And so I am here today to say, not only do we recognize the 50 years of Tom Bradley's leadership, but one of the core values of the leadership was to implement a transportation system that would improve the quality of life for these residents. You all have been doing that work. We have evidence of it. And personally, I look forward to your continued work to finish the entire dream, the entire plan. And ultimately, my hope is that not only will we bring neighborhoods and communities together, but that we will have the system to interrelate to one another, that it will be a transportation system that will get us to the airport, that there will be cabs that will pick us up at the end of the routes. All of that is important, and your work is critically important to make Los Angeles what it ought to be. So thank you so much for this presentation, and we will continue to engage with you down to the Business Interruption Fund for those who have businesses that are enduring the pain that it takes to get to where we want to be.
Yeah, no, I'll let the other projects talk about the rest of the alignments, but I will say that one of the big things that we were taking away from me personally is the day we were open, just kind of riding the system and talking to people, and you could see that the change and the impact that these kind of projects are going to have on the public, and be able to talk to them about their commute times or their ridership that they've been dreaming about this project and how happy they were, and it really shows that these do make a difference. And so again, appreciate your support, and I'll let the rest of the projects talk about the other stuff, but just again, thank you all for everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Just a few quick comments. First, I apologize for not introducing myself. My name is Sami Gali. I'm the Interim Chief Program Management for LA Metro. Second, I'd like to express my thank you to the board for supporting us during the Regional Connector in Crenshaw. Some of you know that Crenshaw was not easy. We had tough time, really tough time to get it done. And thirdly, and one of the future board, I will bring our transportation plan. Our capital program right now is $26.5 billion. So probably it will benefit to show you the project that we have coming up and how they actually interact together to form a real world-class network of transportation. It's going to take some time, but we're on our way. Any question before we go to the next project?
No, we can move on to the West Side Purple Line extension.
Okay,
project.
so section 1, 2, and 3. Section 1, we have Joe DeMello. He's the deputy project manager, and he will provide the presentation.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe DeMello, and I'm presenting for Purple Line Section 1. Next slide. I just want to give you an overview of the Purple Line Section 1. It consists of 3 stations. It's about 3.92 miles long. The final design is 100% complete. The overall progress is 85% complete. The budget is about $3.5 billion. The revenue service date forecast in spring 2025, and the FFGA October 31st, 2024. Next slide. I'll start with our first station within the city of Los Angeles. That's the Wilshire La Brea station. This consists of the remaining work is just the bus lane, curb gutter, sidewalk restorations, some appendage work on the south side of Wilshire Boulevard. We've started our entrance structure construction. There's a little bit of masonry work on the west side of the station and a bunch of crossover and MEP work. If you look at the photograph on the right-hand side bottom, they'll be showing you some track and crossover work there. So this station is in the most advanced stage of completion and was the first station we started. Next one. The second station in the city of Los Angeles area is the Fairfax station. Work going on there is the appendage work, civil restoration on the north side of Wilshire Boulevard that's adjacent to the museum. We have studied the entrance structure construction. Inside the station, we are doing masonry, architectural, MEP work on the platform as well as the concourse levels. Stairs, elevator, and escalator installation is ongoing. Some of the photographs there on the right-hand side is the Z-clip for the installation of the artwork. We have block wall construction and elevator frames. These are aluminum, so they got to be protected. They are wrapped with a shrink wrap. Next slide. There are no upcoming street closures, so this one is kind of blank here. And the last slide I have is the business interruption fund. This is current as of 6/23/23. Grants awarded 289. That's a plus of 8. The grant value is about 7.5 million. Since it was last reported, there's an add of 305,484, and the business count is 96, which is an add of 1. And that's all I got for section 1. Any questions I can help you answer?
I don't have any questions. I think we're good.
Thank you.
You've made significant progress on this piece. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So section 2, and Mike McKenna, Senior Executive Officer and the Project Manager for section 2.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. So section 2, the purple line is the next 2.5 miles with about 90% of the alignment in the city of Beverly Hills, but as we've discussed at previous meetings, the majority of our construction is taking place within the city of Los Angeles. Next slide, please. And just a reminder, and for members of the public who are seeing this for the first time, our station is being built in the Century City part of Los Angeles between Century Park East and Solar Way on Constellation Boulevard near the intersection of Avenue of the Stars. Very busy area. I think for people who have, at least for the golf fans in the room, you may have seen Century City on TV in the last couple of weeks with the US Open. So we had to work very closely with the city to make sure that the impacts from our construction didn't add to the traffic problems caused by such a major sporting event in the city of Los Angeles. And I think we all saw that it went off really well and was a big hit, a big success for the city. Next slide, please. So construction right now, we're about 93% complete with the excavation in Century City. So we're getting very close to being just an underground building project. So we're hoping by the next time I come to brief you, we'll be done with the station excavation in the city of Los Angeles. We still have appendages that we have to excavate and construct around the station box, but you can see we're almost there at the bottom. We have about 30% of the storm drain outside the box to go on Avenue of the Stars. We're moving very quickly with oversight from the city to complete that work by the end of this summer. We know that there's another major development with a very big project being built on the northeast corner of Avenue of the Stars in Constellation Boulevard. So we're coordinating our construction very closely with them to make sure that neither project is having too much of an impact on the adjacent project. Next slide, please. So within the station box right now, you can see from the photos, the photo on the left is at the east end of the station, where we've transitioned into preparation for concrete work. So you can see the waterproofing and gasproofing barrier being installed at the bottom below the future base slab of the station. And on the photo on the right, you can see that we're still excavating that last 7% at the very western end of the box down near Solar Way. But we're getting close. We're almost there. We're encouraged by the progress now that we're out of the rainy season. Next slide, please. Shows the upcoming street closures. We don't have any requests for full street closures for the board for the foreseeable future. We, as you know, from driving through the area, we have ongoing lane restrictions. We'll continue to have some lane restrictions over the next year as we are building the station box and working on the appendages. But like I said, for the immediate future, there are no full closures that we're preparing to request of this board. And our last slide is our business interruption fund with our statistics here. If there are any questions, I know we have members of the team here to answer any questions on the business interruption fund. And if you have any other questions on section 2 of the purple line, I'd be happy to answer them for you.
Thank you. Commissioners, do we have any questions on this stretch?
Yeah, I just have a basic question. In terms of our timeline, are we making reasonable progress in terms of the timeline for completion of the purple line?
I think we're making reasonable progress. We had, I think in our last update, we discussed some of the impacts that the heavy rains had on the schedule for the excavation, and that's why the excavation isn't complete yet. But right now things are moving well, and we're optimistic.
And so our goal was 2024 or 25?
This project, we started with a forecast of summer 2025. We're looking at by the end of 2025 right now, but that's something we're still evaluating. We have about 2.5 years left on the project.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And I don't have any questions either. I know that we've had street closures on Century City for a long time, so glad to see that there's been a lot of progress done.
Well, we appreciate the approvals that we've had in the past with past street closures that greatly positioned us for success. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, I think we're good. So the third stretch now.
Yeah, the last stretch. The goal for the purple line is to open before the Olympics, and that will be section 3. Section 1 and 2 will be open way before the Olympics. Section 3 is the critical piece because the last one.
Okay.
So, Kimberly Ong, she is the senior executive officer and the project manager for sections 3 of the purple line.
Good afternoon, President Garcia and Commissioners. So good morning. So I'll be presenting Purple Line Section 3. For those not familiar, it's 2.5 miles, adds 2 stations, picks up from Constellation with 2 new stations at UCLA and the VA. The next slide, please. Oh, and our project, we're currently at 48%. Sorry for the noise, I'm a little short. For progress on the project, so tunneling with our TBM has been completed. So the progress I'll be talking about today is the next part in the tunnel work with our cross passages. We have 14 cross passages, and that's where we connect the 2 tunnels together. We have 14 of them on the project, and currently the contractor is working on 3 of them around the UCLA area. Now that is underground, so the public doesn't see that work, but we do have work going on in the tunnels with the cross passages. Currently, 2 of them are between the VA and UCLA. They started mining with one of them, and they're doing preparatory work for 2 other cross passages. On the next slide, for the update at UCLA, currently the contractor is at 26% for the excavation. We've seen with my colleagues the next step for stations excavations. They support the utilities that are close to the surface. So you'll be hearing that for the next several updates from our project. So currently they're at the level 2 at UCLA and continuing with those utilities supports about halfway done at the surface. There are a lot of utilities over at UCLA. And then in the graphics, there's just some pictures showing the excavation on the lower left-hand side, as well as utility supports on the lower right-hand side. For the next one, over at the VA, currently the contractor is at 20% complete for the excavation. Similar to that station, they are continuing with those supports as they go down. They're down to level 3. And they have tiebacks that are installing as well at part of one of the entrances where they don't have the space to do the supports crossing the open excavation. It goes into the ground. That's our tiebacks. They are doing those installations as well. One of the other fairly large elements for the VA is their replacement of the VA steam tunnel. That cutover is now completed. So that's a good milestone since that needed to be completed for us to progress the excavation around that steam tunnel. And then again, some pictures for the work on the bottom part with the excavation and the tieback work. My next slide is just an overview for the schedule. It just shows you a picture in terms of the overall project, where we're at. Currently, the primary work is without excavation support, so you'll see the line is right down in the middle. And then the last slide I have is with our business interruption fund. Currently, there is one business that has applied for and received a grant, and they just in this last reporting session received another grant award for that. And that concludes the update for section 3. Are there any questions?
Do we have any questions, commissioners? No.
If I may, this goal in terms of completion for this leg of the Purple Line is the same as the other part of the Purple Line 2025?
That's a good question. So the revenue service date for this section, for the third section, is a little bit further out. It was phased for the starting, so it's phased for the ending as well. Currently, our revenue service date completion is targeted for fall of 2027.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you. It's a lot of excavation that you all have been doing. Thank you for your report. And we look forward to hearing the progress next time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Greg Gaslam. He's a new addition. He's a senior executive officer and project manager for East Fernando project. And he will present the 2 new projects. All the projects that you've seen, we have a project delivery called design build. So we give the contractor the responsibility to design and build. We started to experiment with new project delivery, and we're hoping that will give us a much better schedule, adherence to the schedule and budget. One of them is the East Fernando, and if Greg can take a minute or so explaining the difference between the 2 project delivery. Greg?
Thank you, Sammy. Good afternoon, Vice President and board members. It's a pleasure to be here today. I want to brief you a little bit on the project here. We're basically going to be enhancing the San Fernando Valley with a light rail project. It will be another option for the residents and businesses and linking Van Nuys, Panorama City, Alerta, and the Pacoima communities together and supplementing our existing system out there, as well as the regional rail that exists out there today. Next slide. Wanted to touch base a little bit on the background of the project. We received environmental clearance in December of 2020, and the board certified the environmental impact report for 9.2 miles of a light rail system. The diagram to the right of our bullets kind of show the alignment in blue and green. In 2021, we received a record of decision from the Federal Transit Administration approving the project, and the board also directed us to phase the work in 2 stages. And so the first stage would be the southern stage, which would be from our G line and extend all the way to San Fernando Boulevard. That's going to be our initial operating segment. And then the next segment goes along the existing railroad corridor as shown in the dash green alignments. So next slide. I'm sorry, I must have. Okay, next one, please. There we go. And as part of the board direction, we also were asked to take a look at segment 2 and kind of to take another look and analyze some additional study areas for alternatives and whatnot to make certain that we had evaluated the entire needs of the corridor. So that is still under development. We're hoping that that gets completed by summer of next year. And so our initial operating system consists of, next slide, please. There we go. You're on. Thank you. So our initial operating system is 6.7 miles of a light rail transit system down the middle of Van Nuys Boulevard. We'll have 11 new center platform stations, 10 traction power substations, and a maintenance and storage facility incorporated into the project. We're looking at a ridership of our boardings of around 37,759 boardings daily, and we're looking at a target revenue service date of 2030. We are in partnership with the Federal Transit Administration in financing this project as well as delivering the project. And so right now, we're looking at a project cost of around $3.57 billion. The alignment will be meandering through the center of Van Nuys Boulevard, widening out where we can accommodate our transit stations, and then narrowing down to the full access intersections that we intend to provide to some of the major streets and arterials that intersect Van Nuys Boulevard. We'll also include street improvements and other streetscape improvements as well. And we are currently working with the construction phasing plan and deciding how we're going to be approaching the project and developing and finalizing our schedule. As you can imagine, that corridor has a number of utilities where they're overhead and underground. That's a high priority for us, and we are focusing on that effort as we speak today. Our stations will basically use our kit of parts. They'll all have unique artwork reflecting the surrounding communities. And we'll also have some stations that are considering the use of electrical, mechanical, and systems rooms that will be underground to, again, minimize impacting any property throughout the corridor. Our maintenance and storage facility, it's going to be located on 21 acres. 21 acres. It'll be just north of Keswick and west of Van Nuys Boulevard. We intend to accommodate initial fleet of 34 vehicles as part of the project, and it will have the ability to be expanding in the future to serve our transit needs as we continue to develop the corridors. We were very fortunate to be approved to enter into the Expedited Project Delivery Pilot Program with the Federal Transit Administration. I believe we're the only agency in the country now that is involved in that, so we're very proud of that, and we intend to continue moving forward with this project to fulfill those needs. As you can imagine, one of our main focuses is getting a full funding grant agreement executed by early spring of next year. So we're on target to deliver that, and we're working very closely with FTA and their regional staff here, or local staff here, to accomplish that. We also are going to be relying on state grants and from various programs to finance the project, and certainly our local measures. As Sammy mentioned, we're very excited. We are using a number of ways to deliver this project. Right now, we actually have some utility adjustments in the field, and so we have started construction through our traditional design bid build process. We are proceeding forward with the majority of the phase one of the progressive design build construction contract. So we just recently gave our notice to proceed with our contractor back in April of this year. And so now we are in the phase one, and we're going through our preliminary assessment of the designs and getting ideas of how we can accelerate delivery through the corridor. In addition, as part of the requirements for the FTA pilot program, we needed to have an effort of a public-private partnership. And so we have reached out and been successful in bringing on board a contractor that PCS Energy. They will be able to provide us with solar panels and a battery energy storage facility and system that will be located on the rooftops of our maintenance facilities at our maintenance facility that's located. One of the things I did want to mention is that the contracting team is a joint venture put together of Skanska and Stacy and Woodback. And so we're co-located with them right now. We intend to, by the end of the year, hopefully be co-located in the valley. So those are some of the features going on now. Wanted to talk a little bit about schedule, and really, as you see, I wanted just to highlight the blue star there. That's our date when we intend to have our full funding grant agreement, and that will really set in order the last piece of our financing for the project. We've been moving forward with the procurement of a number of contracts whether it be the design, the construction management team, and certainly the contractors. And as well, we have looked at providing the project completion in 2030, so we're going to continue to move forward on that. What I did want to share with you also, and I apologize, I didn't have a slide to specifically address street closures. At this time, we have 8 advancing utility call them relocations. And so we have 8 packages in the works. We have 1 in the field. None of those packages, we're going to try to expedite them as fast as we can because, again, the idea is to get the utilities out of the way so we can start building in the middle of the road. And so none of those at this time seem to have any need for a street closure. And we'll continue to update you as we move forward and continue to work with the plan and getting those implemented in the field with the contractor. We are also in the preliminary stages of developing a final schedule for the project, and the approach at this point is looking at possibly 2 headings, starting from the north and the south. All of that is still getting worked out, and as we go through those discussions, we will also determine if there is a need for any kind of street closure activity or suggested recommendations from our contractor. We'll certainly be presenting that here in the future. Right now, again, here's some photos of some utility work that's out there. Right now, we were working with Department of Water and Power to get some of their vaults out of the way of the median and relocate them to the side of the street within Van Nuys. That work is progressing really well, and we're anticipating it'll be completed by the end of the year. And hopefully, we'll have some packages ready to roll out in next year, early next year, to continue the relocation efforts through the corridor. We have a number of public outreach opportunities here, and we're taking advantage of as many as we can. We're participating in neighborhood councils, giving everybody an update. We want to communicate the stage as we continue to develop and advance the project. We issue construction notices on the utility work that's going on out in the field right now. We are even having a community open house this week and continue to have those virtually as well. So a lot of effort is going out to make certain everybody hears about the project and is aware. As far as preparation for the major construction, we also have a pilot business interruption fund approved for the use of this project. So we'll help out our business folks and neighbors as we continue through the major construction activities. And the Business Solutions Center is also available to us to help small businesses and social media, anything we can help to ensure that they can continue to operate during our construction activities. So that concludes my presentation. Any questions?
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Dr. Davis, you have questions?
Yeah, I just have a couple brief questions. The businesses that we are engaging in the construction of the line, do we use the federal requirement for business inclusion, or this is, well, it is federally funded, right?
Yes, it is.
So we're going by federal guidelines on our business inclusion program with disadvantaged businesses, women-owned businesses, and that kind of thing?
Yes, we're looking at certainly the disadvantaged business sector. We're looking at small businesses, and really we're also, one of the things that we have is a cultural competency plan that we've asked the contractor to prepare for us and provide us with updates quarterly as well as annually. And so that we're actually getting all of the Metro team that usually does the outreach. We're out there surveying, getting a good feel as to who.
Call it a culturally competency plan.
Yes.
That looks like it might be able to fit in compliance with 209.
I believe, I hope I'm not familiar with that, but I hope
sounds like
it is.
would. Interesting. So what would you say, in my final question, because I know my colleague may have a question, but what would you say we have accomplished in terms of business inclusion in the construction of the rail? Would you say we've made reasonable progress in terms of including women-owned businesses, emerging businesses, disadvantaged businesses in the project? I know people have to be trained to do this work, but what kind of impact have we made with regard to including businesses in this region in the construction of the work?
We have initiated interviews. We've reached out to the community. One of the Another feature that we're going to be providing is a Community Leadership Council. It provides representatives, and I've been fortunate to participate in the panel, and we have a wide range of folks from, young college students through folks that have lived in that community their entire lives and have represented either businesses or wherever. And it's really exciting because they are going to be another resource for us to go and share information and get more feedback as we continue to progress with the construction and start planning how we're going to affect the businesses. That's one of the things that we're very keen on, is ensuring that we understand each and every business that is throughout the corridor, understand what their needs are, so that when we do start coming through and coming up with the way we're going to be approaching work, we understand how we can also accommodate them and serve their needs as well collectively. Sure.
Thank you, and thank you so much for your report. Can you just give a little bit more context? This line seems to be above ground, is that correct?
If it's going to be, pardon me?
Above ground?
Oh, it's at street level. It'll be
Street level? Okay.
Everything's at street level, yes.
Okay, I'm just curious, this 21 acres, that you're going to use for your, I think, storage, was that needed to be purchased land?
Yes, it does. And so we actually have started that. That was originally cleared environmentally. And so now we are actually starting the appraisal process to get that underway so we can start acquiring that land. And the idea would be to provide the maintenance facilities necessary to maintain all our vehicles in our fleet of 34 light rail vehicles. And then with also the intent of expanding the rail in the future, if needed, to accommodate possibly up to 72 additional vehicles. So that's why it's a big number. But and we're working through, and now that we have, again, through Progressive Design Build, we have a contractor right by our side. So we're trying to make certain we have the most efficient layout of the land and provides us the most flexibility for our needs in the future.
All right, thank you. It just struck me finding 21 acres in LA, so thanks for that clarification. I don't have any other questions. Commissioner Reyes, do you have questions too?
Yeah, just one question. The Valley is home to a significant number of disadvantaged communities. And so this project will impact a significant number of them. And I just noticed that you have community open house events. Are you planning to have more? Because I only see two dates for the community events. And what also the second question is, when you establish the Project Community Leadership Council, what's the composition of that council?
I don't have the actual composition. I can certainly report back to the board on that. But it's a makeup of, again, we have, I think there's four community areas that we're looking to have represented. We're also looking at the age groups and making certain that we have that well represented, so we have a nice range of folks that get to participate in that. And we're certainly going to have much more public outreach meetings as we continue to move forward with the project. So those were just the upcoming ones that I'm aware of. I can certainly, again, give you the game plan as to what we have planned for the rest of the year. I can meet with our outreach manager and I'll provide that information to the board.
And for your last question on the bilingual construction notices, just English and Spanish then? Am I assuming that correctly?
This point, yes.
Are you planning to include more languages? Because there's a good number of Japanese community there and also Armenian community that would benefit from communication from your agency.
Okay, good point, and I will check into that. I'm aware that we do have both the construction notices that we are sending. I've seen them both in Spanish and in English, but I have not seen them in any other language. I don't know, Sammy, if we have anything like that, but I certainly will take it back and we'll take a look and see if there's a need to ensure that we can have everybody covered in that community, in the communities that will be affecting in construction.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then we just have one last.
One last.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be in Teams. Annalisa, you're logged in? Sorry? Can you call her?
Is she not here?
Thank you, Sammy. And as I mentioned earlier, the G-Line BRT improvements project will enhance the existing G-Line, making improvements throughout the corridor, providing some grade separations at Sepulveda Boulevard and Van Nuys. And there's our interface with East San Fernando Valley project. So we're working very closely and looking at all opportunities to ensure that we can get some efficiency out of our contractors, working together on that. So there'll be communication improvements, gates to, again, improve the efficiency of operations throughout the corridor. Right now, it's a progressive design build project, so we're keeping notes on both project management, myself and Annalisa. We're working together to ensure that we're hearing the same and understanding how the contractor is going to go about doing business together. Right now, we're through the pre-construction phase. We're just recently completed surveying for the project, so we're getting all the preliminary field investigation work going, geotech work, as well as utility investigation work going. So that is currently ongoing. And at this time, again, no street closures are anticipated to support this effort at this point. And then community relations and public outreach is very similar to the East San Fernando Valley project. We certainly are having stakeholder briefings and making presentations, public presentations, and certainly sending out construction notices again. And what I'll do also is I'll ask Annalisa the same question you asked me is, hey, are we covering all the community needs in the area of providing additional languages for our construction notices? That's all I have to report on that.
Thank you for that, and I'm glad this one's benefiting from Measure W funds, where I chair the Upper LA River. I'm so glad that this is being incorporated as you go into construction on this project as well. So we follow that closely. I think you guys were awarded, I want to say $30 million.
I don't have those.
I don't have it. I can't remember, but I know it was a lot of money.
That's great.
Yeah. All right. Do we have any questions on this item? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Thanks. I think we're good.
Yes, let's conclude our presentation unless you have any questions.
I appreciate it. I don't have any further questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for staying behind, too. Thank you. All right.
Yes, you have. So we'll officially adjourn today's meeting. Thank you.